What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast. Your host, Elijah, here. We're back today on Friday, March 27th. Yesterday was opening day, so we're here a day after opening day. Yesterday was technically opening day, even though they played a game on Wednesday night. I'm not super. I mean, I know last year was a little weird because they had the Tokyo series, which started a little bit earlier. I guess yesterday. Here's my thing and my preference. I wish everyone played all on the same day. It takes away all this confusion. I'm also not a huge fan of how we're playing, and then like the Yankees played on Wednesday, and then immediately got an off day, and now they're playing today at 3:30 Central Time. But like there's a bunch of teams that didn't play yesterday, and then they're playing today, and it's just kind of a weird way they did the schedule. Not a huge fan of it, but it is what it is. I am wearing a headband today, which is crazy. I normally wear headbands during the day, but my hair is getting to the point where I can't just roll. It looks really bad as is. I'm a hat guy right now. I'm in the midst of this in between phase where I'm like wearing hats everywhere I go. I don't leave the house without a hat. So that's why I've got the bandana on. I got a lot of hair. It's the most hair I've had in a long time. And I know I said I was going to cut it last time, but we're not quite there yet. So Wednesday packed with a lot to talk about there. We're going to talk about the Giants and Yankees game. A lot happened yesterday we got to talk about. And then we got some really awesome debuts that happened yesterday. So we're going to talk about that. So we got we got plenty packed into this episode. I'm excited. So first things first, we'll start with the first game that kicked it off on Wednesday. I got a lot of thoughts about that game. First of all, everyone was very critical of the Netflix of their job. Now, I will say this: it didn't look bad. I think that they're getting better at it. I know it was very similar to their Thanksgiving games that they hosted football wise this past year, which wasn't bad. I think it's weird that they make them eat after the game. It made sense. It made sense on Thanksgiving that they had turkey and they were eating turkey legs, and that was kind of, it fit the narrative, right? But for baseball, it was just it was a little weird. It was a little strange. Jameis Winston did a great job. I think he's awesome. The other thing that people don't know about Jameis Winston, and I saw it all over Twitter. Honestly, I might have to get off Twitter, man, because people are just blatantly stupid sometimes on there. So everyone was like, what the hell is Jameis Winston doing here? Like, why is he doing a baseball thing? Guys, Jameis Winston played baseball, like at a high level, like drafted, everything. People don't know that about him. He even played against like Max Fried and who was it? Bobby Witt Jr., like a bunch of these stars that are playing in the big leagues. Like Jameis Winston was at that level at one point. So the dude knows ball. I don't know why we're acting like he's like, what the hell is he doing here? Like, do your research, bro. Jameis Winston is a huge baseball fan and played baseball at a super high level. And if I'm not mistaken, before his football career like really took off when he was playing at Florida State, like he was on the baseball team. So let's not discredit. Let's do your research there, right? But anyway, back to the broadcast. It was good. I think there was two things I did have beef with. One with the score bug in the corner of the screen was so small. I mean, I got a 60-inch TV, not big by any means, but big enough to where if I was looking at the TV, I should be able to see the score, the inning. It was small, so you could see the score. The inning was really weird. And then if you thought you were going to see who's pitching in the pitch count, forget it. Forget it. If I didn't know that Max Fried was pitching and Logan Webb, and then a couple other guys, like I'm a fan of the Yankees, so I know pretty much everyone they're going to roll out without having to look at who's pitching. But if you look at for the Giants, I didn't know anybody else that was on there besides Brubaker, who was a Yankee last year. Forget it, man. I didn't know anyone, and there's no way I was able to see who was pitching by looking at the score bug. It was just impossible. So that was a little weird. And then and again, I'm assuming that this is just starting to be a sport-wide thing with the mid-game interviews. We saw it all last year, and I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the mid-game interview at all. I don't see the like. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to put this into words, right? So, without being an ass, like you don't need to go talk to the coach when your team's down 2-0 in the second inning and be like, "Well, what have you seen so far?" It's been 2 innings. Oh, you see a guy hit a home run. How are you feeling right now? I hit a bomb. I feel pretty great. Like, it's just like, it's really stupid. Just wait till after the game, and it kind of disrupts the flow. Like, these guys are trying to work. Let them work. You don't have to be in their face every 5 seconds. So I'm not a fan of that. And what it did get in the way on Wednesday, because we missed the first ever ABS challenge. We missed it. Wasn't on TV. Everyone missed it. Jose Caballero challenged and lost the challenge. The umpire was correct. And we missed it because they were interviewing Vitello. Missed it. Didn't even see it. They had to go back and play it afterwards. That was pretty shitty. I was pretty upset about that. Literally history in baseball, we missed it because you were asking Vitello some mundane question in the second or third inning. It was stupid. But other than that, honestly, the broadcast was fine. It was much better than the World Baseball Classic. The World Baseball Classic cinematography, or whoever was directing the cameras, was awful. It was so bad. This wasn't as bad. This was nowhere near that. I think there was just a couple intricacies. And again, you have to give them, you got to give them a little bit of grace. It's a first one. I think the next time we'll see a game on Netflix is in for the All-Star game, maybe the Home Run Derby. All-Star game's Fox. But Netflix will have the All-Star game. I mean, we'll have the Home Run Derby, so that'll be cool. Hopefully they'll figure it all out by then. We'll have a bigger score bug, and we'll have to be using magnifying glasses to see who's hitting. But anyway, overall, the broadcast was okay. I'm not going to complain much except for those little intricacies there. But let's talk about the game. So let's talk about the game. The Yankees absolutely shat on Logan Webb. Logan Webb went out there and got pieced up. 5 innings pitched, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. And then Max Fried shoved 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 4 Ks, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. Everyone on the Yankees got a hit except for Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge went 0 for 4 with a golden sombrero. I don't think I've seen a golden sombrero in a long time. It's been a long time. But yeah, so Trent Grisham, 1 for 5. Trent Grisham hit a triple. It was awesome. Judge, I said 0 for 4 strikeouts. Bellinger got a hit in there. Rice got a hit. Stanton with 2 hits. Stanton looked good. Dude can't open a bag of chips, but man, he was on the point. He was on point. Jazz got a hit. Jazz played really well. Caballero played really well. McMahon played really well. Wells obviously still stroking 2 hits in that game. And then from the pitching side, Fried went 6 1/3. Then we had Bird come in, then Hedrick, and then Doval closed it out in the 9th. So no need for Bednar. And then for San Francisco, honestly, I was surprised. So the other thing, before we go further, the pregame for the game was whack. It was weird. I get it, like 2 storied franchises. Like, I don't think the Yankees and the Giants have that big of a storied rivalry, unless I'm missing something. I thought the cab thing was kind of cool for New York, and then the train thing for them coming out of the dugout was all right, entertaining. It's cool. I like that they're adding more intricate pieces to baseball. I think it makes it more exciting. I just think it was a little weird. It didn't fit. I think Bert. I'm a comedy fan. I love stand-up comedy. I love it. I watched Sebastian Maniscalco. I know all the way back to Dane Cook. I've been watching stand-up for years. I don't think Bert Kirscheiser or whatever his name is, I don't think he's funny. I don't think he's funny. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I just don't find him funny. I thought his introductions were a little over the top. It just didn't fit. It was weird. That thing I didn't like. But going into what I brought up the whole thing, because they came out of that train caboose, which they have obviously in San Francisco. I didn't realize how you got some guys, man. They got the Giants have some dudes, and I guess I just kind of forgot. I don't know, because I'm just not a Giants fan. I don't follow them very much. Luis Ariz led it off, and you had Matt Chapman, Devers, Adames, Jung-Ho Lee, Elio Ramos, Schmidt. I don't know Schmidt, and then Patrick Bailey, and then Harrison Bader, who they just signed in the offseason. But Max Fried held them really to nothing, really. I mean, a shutout on opening night. I think they only had 3 hits. Ariz got a hit, Devers got a hit, and then Elio Ramos got a hit. But overall, really great game. A lot of people worried about Judge. A lot of shit was. Here's the thing, and it's kind of a shitty part of the game, especially when these guys are on the level that Aaron Judge, Logan Webb, Bobby Witt Jr., all these really big name stars. They're under a massive microscope, especially playing in New York. Oh my God, Judge is crumbling. He's free. Like, it's one game. It's one game, man. Let's take it easy. I bet you he comes out tonight, goes 2 for 4, or today, I guess rather. It's today, not tonight. Goes 2 for 4 and has a great game. I have no doubts in my mind that's going to happen. He's going to bounce back. He's Aaron Judge, man. He can have one bad game and then go out and still probably win the MVP this year. Let's just be honest. So not really worried about that. Now Logan Webb did not have it. He didn't have it. But to be honest, like, if I'm being 100% honest, I wasn't very impressed with his performance in the World Baseball Classic either. First pitch he gave up was a home run, so it kind of trails with that. I'm not very, like I said, not surprised. He looks flat. His two seam's still moving a lot, but the thing with the two seam is when he runs it in or he runs it out, you're fine. If that ball catches too much plate, it runs right into barrels. That's the kind of like the curse of the two seam, right? If you throw it to certain parts of the plate, it's going to run into a lot of barrels. Logan Webb doesn't necessarily throw that hard, 92 to 95. That's kind of meat for some guys, right? So kind of just part of the game there. Again, I'm not worried about these guys. They'll come back. It's still super early. But yeah, a great game for the Yankees, man. They came out swinging. They were very aggressive, which was super fun to watch. One thing I will say, some of my lip here. A little blister there. One of the things that a lot of people are talking about, obviously, was Tony Vitello, his first game managing at the big league level. If you don't know, Tony Vitello obviously came over from Tennessee, didn't play big leagues, didn't coach in Major League Baseball, jumped all the way through the ranks, surpassed all minor leagues, went straight to the big leagues, and he's now coaching the San Francisco Giants. And Wednesday was his first game. People were kind of critical of him leaving Webb out there a little bit too long. I don't know. He's Logan Webb, man. I mean, he came out, still had 7 strikeouts. Only walked one guy who was just getting hit really hard. I think he still only threw maybe about 84 pitches, maybe out there a batter or two too long. But you're not going to judge a guy on his first game for both sides, for the manager or for Logan Webb. So not worried there. I think that everything's going to go really well for Tony Vitello. I think he's a great coach. I've seen a bunch of interviews. I've seen the way he coaches. You look at his track record at Tennessee, I think he's going to do great. I think it's just going to be one of those things where you're going to need an adjustment period, straight up. So wouldn't be worried. These guys go again at it today. We got Robbie Ray versus Cam Schlittler at 3:30. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Next, let me pull it up here. Now, I made a video yesterday talking about this on Instagram because I was pretty pissed. I was very pissed, actually. No, I don't want the game. Bro, MLB just really just grind my gears, bro. Grind my gears. All right, we got the box here. All right. So yesterday, the first game I watched, and I was excited. I was ready. Paul Skeens, Freddie Peralta, the Mets. I've been following the Mets in their massive offseason. The Pirates have promised that they're on the up and up. We're making the moves. They got a couple pieces here and there. They're going to actually try to win some ball games, and we're disappointed. In the bottom of the first, we're disappointed. Freddie Peralta comes out there. Brandon Lowe comes out, hits a bomb 2-run shot. O'Neal Cruz draws a hit. Then, obviously, the home run 2-0 going into the bottom of the first, and the Pirates collapse. Absolutely collapse. Shit down their leg. Everything you can think of happened. Shit the bed, shit down their leg, whatever. It was terrible. It was bad. Now, granted, I will say this because a lot of people were like, well, the other shoe fell for Paul Skeens. No, dude. No. I do think he was a little bit more erratic, didn't have a lot of control, a very different performance than the one we saw against the Dominican Republic. That was Paul Skeens. That was dominant. He was hitting guys. He walked guys. He gave up really – and that's the other thing. It's not like he was pieced. It's not like he was getting absolutely shelled, a lot of really weak contact. I know a couple duck farts here and there. What really upset me is this. What really got me mad about this game, and to be honest, I didn't watch a whole lot of it. I watched up until maybe the 3rd or 4th. And then I just was going to change it because I wanted to watch some other games that were happening, obviously. And I'm not, once it got a little bit out of hand, it was 5-7, it was 5-2, then 5-3, then 6-3. I was like, I'm out, I'm done. Because, you had the Tigers versus the Padres, which that was a slaughter. And, the Cubs were playing, Red Sox were playing the Reds. So a lot was happening. So I was like, I'm not going to watch the whole game. But I was pissed. because, yes, Paul Skeens gave up a lot of weak contact here and there, little duck farts. But O'Neal Cruz, man, O'Neal Cruz does not belong. I know and a lot of people don't know this because a lot of people just don't do the research. O'Neal Cruz was an infielder. He was an infielder, very, very like that, very like of Ellie De La Cruz when he came up in the minors, coming up into the league. Obviously, the Pirates want him to be an outfielder, so he had a tough. He's not a defensive outfielder, man. He's really not handling it well. There was a lot of times, a lot of guys are, they develop them. Bryce Harper's a kind of a reverse, went from the outfield. Which Bryce Harper was a catcher, mind you. He was a catcher his whole career, then went to the outfield because they wanted to preserve his career. Then they moved him to first, which got rid of Rhys Hoskins years ago, but made that move successfully. Mookie Betts is another example who's been in, out, who can play a lot of different positions, and he made the transition well. O'Neal Cruz has not made that transition very well at all. At all. Had a horrible year last year in the outfield, errors upon errors, missing balls, not running to go get them. It's just poor effort is the best way to put it, I think. Just not good. Just not good. He hits the ball really hard every 200 at bats, maybe. Like, I get it. He hits the ball well, but he's not an outfielder. And yesterday he had two crucial outs. One that he took a bad read, took 2 steps in. And if you're listening and you're still playing or you're an outfielder, always your first step is always back. It's always back. First step back. It's easier to catch ball coming in than catching one over your head running backwards. I coached the last couple of years, and the first thing you tell outfielders, first step is always back. And his first step was what? In. Can't happen. It's at the big league level. Can't happen. Like, what are we doing? So he misses that triple, bases clearing. And then they hit another pop fly, a weak ass pop fly that I swear to God my little sister could catch, and she hasn't played softball since 8th grade. Pop fly, loses it in the sun, and drops, and we have more runs coming in, right? So just, and the sad thing is that Paul Skeens' ERA is like a 20, it's like a 67 or something like that, because of those. And I get it. It's got to touch glove for it to be an error. It didn't touch any gloves, so those go down as hits, which is embarrassing. And one of my super critical pieces of how baseball is scored, but you're not going to change something that's been like that for years. So, again, just one of those things, man. Paul Skeens leaves after recording only 2 outs, his shortest outing of his career, short career so far. And I gotta give it to him, man. Like, I gotta give it to him. A lot of guys would be up in arms. They'd be pissed off. I can't say that I wouldn't be. Like, it's frustrating. You're going out there, you're pitching, the ball's already not rolling your way, and that's baseball. You're going to have days where the ball is just literally not going to fall where you want it to fall. They're going to get little duck farts here and there, Texas leaguers, and it's just going to be one of those things where you make a pitch and you just get beat. It's part of the game. And Paul Skeens, no one's immune to it. But those outs, when you throw outs, you got to have outs, especially on those days, especially on the days where you're really fighting tooth and nail, and there's going to be days as a pitcher, you're going to have that where you're just going to have to white knuckle it and try to make it through because you don't have your most crisp stuff. And that's when you kind of rely on your defense to kind of pick you up. When the ball goes in play, we need your help. I need you to make the play. And this team didn't come through there. And then it kind of just piled up on itself there. But my thing is this: O'Neal Cruz, I get it. They're working with him. He's working, but we need more. Put some sunglasses on. Why was there no adjustment made after that? Still no sunglasses? Like, what are we doing? Call time and have the bat boy bring you some. I don't know what you got to do, but you got to make an adjustment. And it just feels like we're repeating the same thing last year. I'm also kind of split on how I feel about the Connor Griffin thing. And I just don't like the way the Pirates are run. I just don't. Not a fan. And I think that they're wasting a lot of great talent. They continue to have these great pitching prospects and no team to back them up. It's a disappointment, man. Hopefully they can turn it around again. We're 1 game in. It'd be stupid of me to sit here and say the Pirates are going to have a terrible year. You don't know. They could pick it up. They could figure it out. But again, just looking from the outside, looking in, bothered. I'm bothered by the Pirates, but we'll move on. So like a subtopic on this, and this is something that I do want to talk about because we've seen now Jackson Churrio's injured. which is big news. Happened literally yesterday before the Brewers game. He has a fracture in his left hand. He's hurt. You saw really poor performances from Logan Webb, Paul Skeens. So again, the narrative's already been said. I watched MLB Network this morning, and the narratives are already being talked about. The WBC is the problem. They ramped up too fast. Okay. Time. Let's talk about this. Let's break it down. Is the WBC too much? I will say this. I think that playing that early, that intense, sometimes it could be a problem. I'm split. I do think that the game that Paul Skeens threw against the Dominican was World Series-esque. And here's the thing with the world, and I hate bringing it back up again because we're in the season and you don't want to kind of keep reliving what happened. But, when you go into the World Baseball Classic, a lot of these guys are using it as ramp up. And I've said it before, believe me, don't believe me. I literally talk to guys that play in Major League Baseball. It's a ramp up period, whether they want to admit it or not. But when you get into some of these games where the competition is heavy, like that championship game between Venezuela and the U.S., that is not a ramp-up game. That was full-on competition. Let's see what we got. When you look at that Dominican Republic game, full-on, here we go, ramp up out the window, I'm going to mow your ass down. Like that's the mentality that these guys have at each other. It's a different feel. So it's hard to expect them to go out there and be like, all right, now I want you to remember, take it easy, go out there, feel your stuff, slowly ramp it up. They're not doing that, man. They see the other team and they're like, we're going after this. Like, this is going to happen. And that's the problem, right? Is that the ramp up gets thrown out the window and these guys go full on. Now, not everyone had a bad opening day. Not everyone is like that. It's just a couple sample size, right? A couple guys here and there. It could be purely coincidence. I'm hoping it is. But my resolution for this, if we're going to keep talking about how it's played too early, why don't we have this during the All-Star break? I know that we're not going to get rid of the All-Star game because it's a tradition. They're not going to get rid of it. But I think it would be cool that every 3 years, instead of having an All-Star game, you have the World Baseball Classic that week. Maybe condense it, do something and invite more players to it. You can have more people. They're all ramped up. You're mid-year. Surely you're going to have guys that are injured. Injuries are part of the game. You're not going to get rid of them. But I think that it would fit better in that week, or hell, 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks, however long the World Baseball Classic was. Have them leave mid-year, come back. Again, you can play devil's advocate with me and say, well, they're not going to want to leave their teams mid-year, especially guys that are on playoff runs or they're having really great success. Okay, sure. It's the same concept with the All-Star game. They're leaving their teams to come play the All-Star game and then go back to their teams when it's over after the break's done. So I don't necessarily. I think that would be the best case scenario. Every 3 years, scrap the All-Star game, give them a 2-week period, play the tournament, and then everyone goes back. I think that's the best way to do it. There's no questions about ramp up. There's no questions on availability. There's more people that are able to participate because they're mid-year. They're not going into it's all ready and set and good to go. I just think it benefits everyone more. Whether they'd be liable to do that, I don't know. But I think that's the solution. But no, long answer, TLDR. I don't think we blame the World Baseball Classic for this. I think it was just a coincidence. I think Logan Webb came out flat. I think Paul Skeens had a bad outing. Shit happens. It's part of the game. But hopefully Paul Skeens bounces back. I don't know. The Mets are obviously going to play today, no? Or if they haven't, if this is another off day situation, yeah, they played. Why are they off today? What is that? Off today, play tomorrow at 3:10. I don't get it. New scheduling, I guess. Who knows? Moving on. Should have brought some water in here. All I brought was coffee, and I was like halfway done with it, and now I'm like running out, and I'm like trying to savor it because forgot to bring my water. I literally filled up a water and left it out, but I'm not gonna go get it. Next on my list. So yesterday we had the Astros versus the Angels, who I'm sure have an off day today. No, they play today at 7:15. Look at that. That's cool. Are you shitting me? I don't want I think it's crazy that Major League Baseball is now making like TikToks for you to watch games, which is it's smart. It's smart. Don't get me wrong. I'm just like, I don't want that. I want to see the stats. I want to see the box. Here we go. All right. Yeah, so Jose, what's his name? Soriano. Listen, no one listens to me. Last year, I remember I was watching the Yankees at the Angels. Or maybe it was somebody else, but I was watching the Angels in LA. I wasn't there. I was watching the game. Here's the thing real quick before I go further. If my Yanks aren't playing and the Diamondbacks aren't playing, I'm watching ball somehow. So I'm watching a game. So I catch games all the time, even if teams I don't even like. So last year at some point I was watching the Angels and Jose Soriano was pitching. And I remember watching him throw and I was like, this kid is good. I've never seen this guy, but he's nasty. He's got some velo. He's good. He had a lot of control issues. He barely made it out of the first inning, but he had some good stuff. I remember watching, and you can see it when you've watched baseball for a long time. You can ask anyone who's been in and out or out of the game for a while, and you see a guy pitch, you're like, that guy's got it. You don't know what it is, but that guy's got it. And Soriano pitched a hell of a game yesterday. 6 innings, 2 hits, 4 walks. Again, he has control issues, but 7 strikeouts and held the Astros to nothing. Yeah, great performance there. That was something that didn't get talked about enough because what I'm about to talk about is what stole the show, and it's Mike Trout. It's Mike Trout. So Mike Trout yesterday, Angels were playing at Houston. I had a friend text me yesterday and go, "Well, we got smoked by the Angels. I guess our season's over." And I jokingly was like, "Well, that's what told you the season was over? I thought the season was over before it started." Sorry to all you Astros fans. I'm just joking, but. I don't have a whole lot of high hopes for the Astros. I'm just going to be honest. I don't, and I usually call it how it is. I never count a team out just to count a team out because I don't care for them. I just don't see the life and the spark that they've had in the past, even with Correa, even with Altuve, even with Yordan back in the lineup. Even though Yordan hit a ball so high yesterday, it hit the top and went foul. Never seen that happen before. Yordan's a powerhouse, but again, I don't think those 3 can save him. Christian Walker, no. Cam Smith in the outfield, no. Lou Perfito, no. Like, I don't see it. Jake Myers, I don't see it, man. I don't think that they have what they need. And the Astros are aggressive. They may go get some pieces at the deadline, barring how their season goes. You never know. But anyway, Mike Trout stole the show yesterday with an absolute tank. He stole a bag. He had a great game. 1 for 2. With an absolute jack. He got walked 3 times and stole a bag. That was, and I watched the home run. Whoever the guy was pitching for Houston, blue ball. He was good. He was good, man. He was pretty solid. Gave up the bomb to Trout, but he was pretty good. 2 1/3. Gave up 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, and 3 strikeouts. One of those hits was a home run. So he did good. I was impressed. Young guy. Did really well. But yeah, that was the first time I saw or had seen Mike Trout look like Mike Trout since maybe 2022, 2023 was the last time that I feel like we saw Mike Trout really play like Mike Trout. And I know that sounds confusing, but he's been in and out of injuries. He's been not the same guy, just battling a lot of different stuff. But yesterday it really looked like, hey, is he back? He might be back. He might be back. He looked damn good, and he hit an absolute mammo bomb. The swing looked healthy. It looked strong. It was good. It was really good. And everyone collectively, I think, was like, oh, my God, Mike Trout's back. Now, I was watching MLB Network, and, they were talking about a lot of different things, obviously. And one thing that they brought up that I kind of wanted to talk about was, and it's kind of more or less a Mike Trout problem. It's not even really an Angels thing. I mean, the Angels for a while weren't trying to get better. They seem to be they may be getting a little bit more competitive, but they're still not really there. I mean, they got Zach Neto, Moncada, Adele, Lowe, Hoppy, Peraza. Just not a competitive team, in my opinion. They got little flutters here and there that can do it, but not the most competitive team. And the big question was, will Mike Trout play in playoff games? I know that I don't know if he's played in any playoff games. That's a good Google question. Oh, he did play in the playoffs, but only once. Yeah, he played a 3-game series in 2014, the ALDS, but they got swept by the Royals. Obviously, that was Yeah, the Royals were really good back then. Anyway, point is, will Mike Trout play in any more playoff games? We know that Mike Trout wants to stay loyal to the Angels. That's who drafted him, and he's made it very clear he's a loyal guy. He wants to stick it out and play there and win there. I get it. But at what point do you stop and you're like, all right, this ain't going to happen? Like, it's just, I'm not going to win here. Like, Shohei left. When am I going to win here? And I'm starting to think that the clock is ticking on his career to a point where, like, he's going to go his whole career, and it's going to be one of those where it's like, what if? Because he never played anywhere else, and the Angels were worthless his entirety of his tenure. I think it's an injustice, man. Like, and again, you can tell the guy to leave. He don't want to leave. He wants to do it there. And I guess if for some magical reason the stars align and the Angels get really good, or they just hit a hot streak and they make it and they go do something, I mean, hey, it'll taste a hell of a lot sweeter, I'm sure, for everyone that was like, you should have got out of there. And then he stayed and they did something. But I don't see it. I don't see it happening. And a lot of people don't see it happening. So I'm kind of like, Mike, yo, it's time to explore some other options. And again, he stated that he wants to stay there. I hear it. But I think maybe, I think in the next couple of years, if something's not clicking, I think he might pull the trigger and want to at least go play for a team that's going to compete. I can't see why you wouldn't. You can't end your career and not try for something, man. But is Mike Trout back? I don't know. I'm pretty pumped. Sorry, getting text here. Oh God. Anyway, Mike Trout might be something to watch out for. I got two more notes on here. The next one. Who is blowing me up right now? What are we doing? Good put. God, it's Friday. Leave me alone. All right. Next on my list, we got the Dodgers and D-backs started their seasons off last night in LA at 5 o'clock. I guess it was 7 o'clock my time, so 5 o'clock their time. Had the World Series presentation pregame. We had Zach Gallen versus Yamamoto. I'm gonna be honest. I'm always on Twitter during games that I'm watching because I like to see what people are saying. A lot of times, I don't necessarily recommend it because a lot of times people are, number one, super dramatic, and two, people are really negative. It's just really shitty. You don't want to see it, but that's just the nature of the internet. But I also follow a lot of pages that do the stats and they do pitch grading. So I'm looking for stuff like that. I'm looking for the stats coming from, some of the reporters. But a lot of times it's a lot of negative shit, and I'm just not here for it. But like, it was funny, for example, and this kind of ties into the game. For the first 4 innings, Zach Gallen was carving. He was carving, and then here we go, all the Dodgers fans. Oh my God, how are we letting this guy carve us? We're cooked. We're trash. Of course, every time he pitches, just the absolute just complaint fest. Just the world's smallest violin coming from Dodgers fans. Like, guys, it was 4 innings of baseball. You got 5 innings left, and you're worried already? What are we doing? It's just dumb, right? That's the internet. But anyway, point being, Zach Gallen carved through 4. Yamamoto carved through 4. Yamamoto ended up carving through 6. Did great. Listen. I'm going to be honest. I'm not by any means a Dodger fan. I'm not a Dodger fan. I do have Dodger memorabilia. I'm a fan of the game, so of course I'm gonna root for the franchise. I'm a fan of a lot of different teams. I like ball. I was rooting for them in the World Series last year because they just felt like the team to root for against the Blue Jays, and everyone's shitting on me. Oh, you should root for the team who's never won. I think the attitude surpassed that one on that one. I think the Dodgers just carried themselves a little bit better than the Blue Jays did. That's just my opinion. Again, don't hate the Blue Jays either. That's just how the cookies crumble for me. They got better. I mean, they were already good. I mean, I'm going to be honest. They are going to be it's not news. It's not like we didn't know. It's not like a shock that the Dodgers are damn good. They already had a stacked lineup, and they go ahead and add Kyle Tucker to the mix, and then they add Edwin Diaz to the mix, and you got a closer that's going to be probably he's the best closer in baseball right now, I'd say, and you got the hottest free agent on the market this past offseason, adding on to your Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Andy Paez. Now add Kyle Tucker. Like, that's a fucking lineup, dude. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. And that's the thing about this lineup. If they can stay healthy, it's scary. I mean, it's really scary. I mean, they're disastrous. They will foobar a pitching staff, if you know what I mean. I mean, so I was like, I went in there and I was kind of like, hopes and prayers for you, Zach Gallen, like my D-backs. Let's see what we can pull together. And to be honest, they held the lead for about 2 innings. You know, Perdomo goes in there, hits a bomb, 2-run shot. And Zach Gallen pitched well. A lot of people were like, oh my God, Zach Gallen back to the same shit. No, man, Zach Gallen pitched good. He pitched well. He pitched well for 4 innings. He shut them down. He was pinpoint. He was throwing a lot of breaking balls for strikes. He was sequencing really well with Gabby Moreno, called a great game. And I think so that 5th inning rolls around. And again, that's the thing about good teams is you can't let them like paper cut you to death. If they keep paper cutting you, they'll kill you. And how it started was an error. I don't know if it was necessarily an error from Marte. Just took a different hop and he didn't play the ball right. It was hit pretty hard from Muncy, and just didn't get there. He gets on first and they hit and then Teoscar Hernandez hits a dribbler, and then Zach Gallen made a fucking phenomenal play. Goes over there, fields his position, and throws it, and Hernandez beat it by, I mean, that much. It was almost a bang play, or it was a bang play. But a great fielding job right there. And then just had Pages, I think 2-2 or 3-2, and then just threw a curveball, backed it up, and just right in his sweet spot and hit a home run. One bad pitch. He'd given up 2 hits before that. It's just the bad pitch, and that's just the way the ball rolls, right? And then one thing I will say, and I noticed this watching the game for all you D-backs fans, like Zach Gallen is he's very stoic, sort of, when things are going well. He doesn't show a lot of emotion. And then once the game starts to get in, you can start to read him a little bit. You can start to read him, and you see the facial expressions. You see that when he throws a bad pitch, he gets pissed. And I think, and again, I'm not going to sit here and say that, pitching with emotion is bad. It's not. But when you're pitching to emotion that's negative most of the time, it doesn't do you well. He was fed up with the couple of the pitch calls, because then he walked the guy after he gave up the home run, and you could just tell he felt out of sorts, and you let it rattle him. That's one of those things you just can't let that happen. You can't let it happen. And he leaves the game. I think only gave up 4 runs, but overall, man, like, not a bad. You're pitching. You're starting your year against quite arguably the best lineup in the entirety of Major League Baseball. Honestly, for probably the entirety of Major League Baseball for the last 5-6 years. You can't. What are you going to do? You went out there and gave him 4, making it through and for anyone that's kind of still like, it's his job. He's a professional pitcher. Sure. Making it through that lineup 3 times is probably like a tough feat. And here's the deal. You can go and you get, let's use Shohei Ohtani as a prime example. He's the best hitter on the team. You can go out Shohei Ohtani and you can sequence beat him 2 times. But at this point, he's like, all right, I've seen all your shit. I've seen all that you got. Come at me again for the 3rd time. He's going to get you. All these guys, they're going to get you. That's just how good they are. Not every team is like that. You're going to have breaks and pieces within teams, but I feel like the Dodgers 1 through 9, there's a few teams like that, but the Dodgers, especially 1 through 9, are nasty. It's hard to get through to them. You're getting through to them, getting past them 3-4 times a game is, most of the time you want to make it through a lineup as a starter 3 times. 4 times you have to really be rolling to go through them 4 times. Most of the time it's like, hey, let's get another arm. Let's get another look. And he did good. He did good. I just think that, the ball didn't roll his way. It's part of the game. But Yamamoto shoved, of course, as he always does, right? Yamamoto did phenomenal. The Dodgers hit the ball. It's what they're going to do, right? You have a great outing from Yamamoto, sets you into the 6th inning or into the 7th inning. It feels like his arm is rubber. But again, the Diamondbacks, the pitching is the problem. And this is like the biggest thing I can say as I wrap up this topic. Number one, the Diamondbacks don't, as of right now, they don't have a lefty on the staff. In the bullpen, because they have Erod, but they don't have another lefty. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. The Diamondbacks do not have a left-handed pitcher in their bullpen. One more time in case you're not understanding what I'm saying. The Diamondbacks do not have a left-handed pitcher in their bullpen. How? What do you mean? I saw that last night and I about lost my mind. They have Erod. That's it. And again, we're hoping that Erod throws a great game. I think tonight I think Erod throws tomorrow, but I'm just like, man, what are we doing? Again, the problem for the Diamondbacks has always been the pitching. It's always been the pitching. In 23, they had a great bullpen. I think this year if they can figure out the bullpen, or these guys can string some really, if the starters can go into at least 5-6 consistently, and then they can go to the bullpen for those last 3-4, they'll be okay. But that's going to be the problem, man. That's going to be the problem all the way through. Is their bullpen and their pitching has to come through, because their offense is good. Pavin Smith, they got Santana, who they signed. They got Nolan Arenado. They got Perdomo, Marte. They got Corbin Carroll. They got Alec Thomas. So they got plenty of defense. They got plenty of offense. The pitching has to come through. And that's going to be the biggest piece of the Diamondbacks this year. And if they can't get that together, then forget it. It just doesn't matter. But again, I thought that Gallen did a great job. Remember, I'm not going to judge much off this series, because these guys need to take a minute to get hot, and the Dodgers are the Dodgers. I mean, there's nothing you can say about that, but it'll be interesting. I'm going to try to watch them tonight. They play at like 10 o'clock at like 9 o'clock my time. I don't know if I'm going to make it. All right. So last thing on my list, we have a bunch of debuts. We had team debuts, and we had rookie debuts yesterday. We had some good ones. We had some really good ones. No, I don't want to take your survey. So the first one on the list, we have Kevin McGonigal, who I'm not sure has had a day. Like, I don't think I've seen a rookie have a debut like this. Kevin McGonigal, I think that's how you say it. McGonigal went 4 for 5, 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. Have a day. He was a number 2 overall prospect. Just came out swinging. 4-hit day. Jeez, dude. That's crazy. On your debut. McGonigal obviously plays for the Tigers, so pretty solid. Brandon Lowe hit 2 home runs yesterday as well, was the only shining light in that Pirates game for the most part. Brandon Lowe's not a rookie, though. He just made his Pirates debut, so that was cool to see. Chase DeLauder. If you don't remember Chase DeLauder was he's one of I think one of the top prospects, but he's 100% the number 1 prospect for the Guardians. And if you don't remember Chase DeLauder, like the makeup stuff, he made his technical debut last year in the wild card, and he missed the pop-up in like the first inning, and then he was nails after that. But that's all I remember. I was like, holy shit, what a rookie. Like, it's a nightmare to go out there and take your first ball and miss it. Like, that's crazy. But last night, and he ripped up the spring. He's got an awesome swing, awesome at-bats, had a great spring training, and then yesterday comes out and goes 3 for 5 with 2 home runs. Absolutely tore it up. Yeah, it was pretty great. Honestly, he hit a home run, I think, on Tuesday night too against Merrill Kelly in Arizona. So yeah, he's the real deal. Moving forward. So I guess, yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily his debut, but that's his regular season debut. So I call it his debut. Next on the list, we had Carson Benj, who was a big one. Went to Oklahoma State with Nolan McLean. Also a Met. I think he struck out on 3 pitches from Skeens his first at bat, but ended up getting his hit a home run, which was awesome. He's a number 16 prospect overall. I do know that. But yeah, 1 for 3. Again, he had a stolen base, RBI, 1 for 3 of the home run. So decent debut. I think it's always cool when those guys hit, like, you hit a home run on your major league debut. That's like sick. That's peak. JJ Weatherholt. Okay, so one thing I didn't put on my list that I should have. So yesterday I was watching the Big Inning. If you know what the Big Inning is, it comes with your major league. It comes with the MLB TV subscription where it plays like 4 games at once, basically. And I was watching the Phillies and the Rangers. I was watching the Reds and the Red Sox, and I was watching the Padres and the Tigers, and I was watching the Rays and the Cardinals. And every so often, I kind of look down at the Cardinals game, and I was like, the Cardinals might be coming back here. The Cardinals, and then all of a sudden they did, and they were down like 7-0 and came back and won the game. JJ Weatherholt went 1-for-4 with a home run, 2 RBIs, 425-foot bomb, it says. But it was awesome. It was awesome. In his second big league at bat. So another guy hits a home run in his debut. And that was just an awesome game, man. The Cardinals have been going through it the last couple of years. There was a lot of stuff about their attendance and all that stuff. The Cardinals, they didn't look bad yesterday. They got Jordan Walker over there. They got obviously Mason Wynn. They got some dudes. So it'll be interesting to see. Brendan Donovan. We're not going to talk about Brendan Donovan. Justin Crawford made his debut. He went 2-for-4 with a run. That's pretty cool. Ryan O'Hearn made his debut with the Pirates. Why not talk about Weimer? Okay. The last one that I'm going to talk about, so we're not going to talk about Rhys Hoskins. We're not going to talk about Kyle Tucker. Pete Alonso went 0-for-3. Bo Bichette went 0-for-4. Bregman went 1-for-4. Adolis 0-for-4. That's not great. Jorge Polanco 1-for-3. Simeon 2-for-5. A lot of Mets. Obviously, the Mets were the ones that made the most changes, so a lot of Mets on that. But the one we're going to talk about is Munetaka Murakami, who came over from from Japan. It was a big one this past year. I don't know why or who calls these shots. I mean, I remember when Shohei came over. I remember like they were talking about, when Shohei was going to come over, a lot of people were talking about, well, where is he going to go? The Yankees, the Dodgers, like all these big name teams. But the big thing was, he was like, I want to hit and I want to pitch, and I need a team that's going to let me do both. And a lot of teams weren't going to let him do both. That was the big thing. I think he paved the way. I think if someone was going to trade for Shohei Ohtani, they let him do both now that he's showcased that he can do it. But when Shohei first came, it was a big deal. Like a lot of teams weren't going to let him do both. They wanted him to pitch, or they wanted him to hit. Most wanted him to hit. And he ended up signing with the Angels because they were one of the few that were going to let him do it. And then Roki came over, and Roki immediately, the minute that I heard that Roki was going to get posted to come to Major League Baseball, I was like, he's going to go play the Dodgers. Why are we even going to talk about it? And then obviously Murakami was posted last year, or not late last year. I was like probably in the fall last year when everything really heated up for him. And when I saw he signed with the White Sox, I was shocked. I was really shocked. 2-year, $34 million. I was really shocked. I don't. Again, excuse me. Again, I don't know who's calling these shots. Who is? Obviously, he's got an agent. Obviously, someone's advising him on this. On his signing. But I was in utter shock to hear that he signed with the White Sox, considering their last 2 years have been absolute dumpster fires. And now the White Sox yesterday, I watched the game because my boss actually is a Brewers fan, and I don't mind the Brewers. I think that they're they're an interesting team, considering that they play with not a whole lot, and they seem to they just have a lot of great chemistry. I think there's a lot of great stuff coming out of that clubhouse. Mizorowski pitched yesterday and made the opening day start, his first, struck out 11 guys. Again, it's the White Sox, so take it with a grain of salt, but he looked electric up there. His motion is so wonky that I think it throws people off. And then when it's coming at 99, dude, like, get out of here. So the Brewers are just an interesting team all the way. They're just really weird. They fascinate me. Not to take away, they do have star power. They've got, Christian Yelich. They've got Bryce Terang. They had Freddie Peralta, got rid of him. Honestly, I don't know why I'm blanking. I know they have more. Oh, Sal Frelick. I'm not going to go through the roster, but they got some guys. It's just not the name star power that they've had in the past. They've kind of traded away a lot of guys. But anyway, the Brewers put an absolute ass kicking on display and destroy the White Sox 14-2 on opening day. It was bad. So their woes continue. But in the ninth, in the top of the ninth, Murakami hit an absolute moonshot. I mean, a bomb, dude. an absolute bomb. He ended up going 1 for 2, 1 home run, 1 RBI. It was him. He was the only he was the RBI. But yeah, 26 years old, man, made his debut. I didn't know it was a 2-year, so you can get out of there in 2 years. 2 years, $34 million. I'm sure it's going to be a really tough 2 years for him, unless the White Sox decide to trade him at some point. But it's going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough 2 years for him. But absolute moonshot. So it has Ryan Helsley on here, who came out and did well yesterday. Got the save. Who had a really hard time in New York last year after getting traded to the Mets. And then Kyle Tucker, and I'm not going to talk about Kyle Tucker. And then there's Rhys Hoskins, and then I went over a couple of these other ones. But overall, it was an exciting day. I always think it's really cool to see guys make their debut and they come out big and they hit home runs or they come in clutch for their team. But I think the guy who took the cake, if I'm going to be honest, the best debut yesterday has to be McGonigal, 4 for 5 with two doubles. Oh, tear it up, dude. Tear it up. And honestly, the Tigers whooped up on the Padres yesterday. That was something. I don't know who started. Honestly, now that before I close it, I do want to look at that because Tarek Skubal threw a great game, obviously, right? Reigning Cy Young. Give me that box. Give me the score. You're not going to give it to me. What? What? World Series? What are you talking about? I don't. Oh my God. I don't want that. Irritating. Yeah, there we go. God, ESPN. No, what is this? Jesus. Just as I was about to compliment ESPN and be like, wow, it's easier to opt out, and they start blasting a video in my face. Anyway, as we near the end of the show, I did want to look at the stats from yesterday. Oh, Pivetta started for the Padres. So Pivetta went out there 3 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Not great. Scuba went out there, gave 6 solid, 3 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. Sorry. Yeah. Let's look at this. So Tatis 1 hit, Bogarts 2 hits, Machado 1 hit, and then we got zeros through Merrill, Andujar, Sheets. Castellanos came in for a pitch hit, didn't get the hit. Laureano got a hit, then Furman got no hits, and then Cronenworth went 0 for as well. So top of that lineup was still strong, just not enough to push enough across. They get beat 8-2. But again, here, like, Tigers went off, man. Carpenter didn't get a hit, but you got 1 hit for Glaber, 2 hits for Keith, no hits for Riley Green, 1 hit for Spencer Torkelson, 4 hits for McGonigal. Tingler got 2 hits, Meadows got a hit, and then Baez got a hit. Crazy to see Baez back at short, by the way. That was wild. But I have doubts about the Tigers. The Padres just can never seem to get it together. I'm not quite sure what to expect from them. When it comes to the Tigers, I was very leery, is the best way to put it. I was very treading with caution. Tread lightly is the best way I can put my what I have, the faith that I have in the Tigers. I don't quite know. I'm kind of like going to watch them from afar and see how it goes. Because we've been here before. They're running it back with necessarily the same team. And, didn't make it too far last year. So we're going to see. Put a whooping on the Padres, though. So we'll see how they look when Scubal's not throwing, and then we'll discuss. But overall, we had a great opening day yesterday, guys. It was fun. I'm kind of pissed that there's no day games today, so I'm just kind of sitting here twiddling my thumbs until 3 o'clock when all the games start up again. Yankees start, and we got a bunch of games going through the night. And then we got a weekend full of baseball, man. You know what I'm going to be doing? I'm just going to be sitting my ass on the couch watching a shit ton of baseball. It's going to be a blast. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure you like or follow the podcast, rate it, all that stuff. I think that's what it is on there. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, man. Let me know what y'all think. If I'm way off, let me know. And then obviously follow me on Twitter, Instagram. We got all kinds of stuff going on there. I'm posting all kinds of content. So check me out. Let's talk ball, man. But once again, guys, I appreciate y'all, and we will catch y'all in the next episode.